буквально через минуту присоединится в эфир очередной гость. Это Филипе Каррера. Мы поговорим на английском о текущей ситуации, о лидерстве, о том, как оставаться эффективным в настоящем времени, да, в текущей ситуации. Поэтому задавайте вопросы. Кто понимает английский, конечно же, оставайтесь. Кто хочет попрактиковать, тоже оставайтесь. В любом случае будет беседа простым языком на интересующие в первую очередь вас темы. Поэтому буквально полминуты, минуты, и Филиппе присоединится. Так, всех вижу. Всех рад видеть. И готовьте вопросы, которые вас интересуют. Сейчас буквально еще чуть-чуть подождем, и участники присоединятся, и, соответственно, наш гость. Угу. Вы можете пока написать, как у вас настроение, дела, и откуда вы нас смотрите. Присоединились в эфир, где вы находитесь, и как настроение. Возможно, какие-то технические вопросы решает наш гость. Вот я вижу Филиппа. Отлично. Филиппа, press the button, please, and join our conversation. Yes. Филиппа, что-то произошло. Филиппа, join us again, please, because probably there's some technical problems. We'll see. Дорогие друзья, мы сегодня поговорим на английском с нашим гостем. Сейчас посмотрим. Видимо, у Филиппа какие-то технические сложности. Так. Посмотреть. Угу. Сейчас буквально подождем. Филиппа сейчас присоединится еще раз. Филиппа, hi.
Finally, I was doing a request, but didn't came out.
Yeah, finally here with us. Thank you very much for your time. And I just mentioned that you are a great leader and you are member of GCI World. What else would you like our followers know about you? How would you describe yourself?
Well, to make a bit of a joke, I'm a digital dinosaur because nowadays everything is digital. Everybody's talking about digital, and I started doing remote work in the 90s. I started doing distance learning in the 90s. I started doing e-commerce in the 90s and digital marketing in the 90s. So that's why I joke that I'm a digital dinosaur, because now everybody's very digital. Everybody's like, oh, we have to do digital transformation. And okay, I've been doing that for the last 20-something years.
And also you are corporate trainer and speaker. You help corporations and people to be more effective, to work
you help with them with mindset and leadership skills. How do you help them, Filipe? How do you use your time in this situation when you are at home? Something changed or nothing changed? How you work? You work remotely through internet?
Well, first of all, I've for the last 20-something years, I've been working remotely. So in that area, not much changed. The change has been that a lot of trainings and also classes at university, they went online because there was no other alternative. So that is the only shift. And what I'm trying to help nowadays professionals and organizations is to understand that this world has changed and that you have to use this moment of transition, because we are living in a moment of transition that it might take 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. We don't know how much time it will take, but the more it takes, the bigger will be the change. So each day that passes, the bigger the change will be, because there are several things that people are that's happening. Organizations are discovering new ways of working. People are discovering new ways of learning. Organizations and people are discovering new ways of communicating. So it's very interesting that this is the biggest ever digital experience in the history of mankind. Because before we were talking about these are slow trends that will come to an end with the new generations. And now suddenly everybody is doing their own experiment.
Absolutely right. Filipe, you mentioned that it could last 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. What would be your recommendations to people? How would you recommend to spend their time to be more productive and be ready when everything will be okay again?
First of all, rethink your life. We have to understand that we were given a unique moment. This is an opportunity also for us to look at what is our day-to-day life and to see what's the problem as professionals. This is something that I believe that is let's say the example of the life of many people across the world. I call it the hamster life. The hamster, when he's on the wheel, he doesn't notice that he's on the wheel. He's running. For him, he's running. He has no concept of wheel. He only has the concept of wheel when he gets out of the wheel. So we are living this because it can be in Moscow, it can be in Lisbon, it can be in any other big city across the world. There is a lot of hamsters going around, and nobody has the concept that they are hamsters in that. Let me explain what I mean with this. If you live in a big city, it's normal that to take you from point A to point B, it takes around 1 hour, being point A, your house, and B, your workplace. 1 hour to go, 1 hour back. So that's 2 hours, 2 hours per day. So you lose 10 hours each week, 40 hours, 40 every month. A week of work you lose going from A to B and B to A. And basically, you are losing that time, and because you are losing that time, you cannot do what us humans have to do. We need to socialize. So many times people think, okay, but you are saying that everything will be digital and nothing will, we need the humans to interact. Yes, but are we interacting the good way? Because think about this, you go to an office mainly because you need to socialize. So it was supposed to go to work, correct? So you should work and then socialize. The two things normally create some problems. productive problem. So you have to spend more time at the office because you didn't notice, but you spend it 10 minutes socializing with this. This one came and socialized with you, so interrupt your work. You were really good doing the thing, and now you have, and then you have these long meetings that are worthless. And then think about this, that many people say, oh, but people need to socialize, they need to go to restaurants, they need to go to bars. Yeah, they are so concerned with the quality time that they have that if you enter any bar, any restaurant, anywhere in the world, what you will see is people facing each other with their mobile phones, looking at their mobile phones instead of talking with a person in front. So it is also not true that we really think that face-to-face socialization is so important, because in reality, we want somebody to be in front of us to be handling their own phone. So we need to rethink. This is the time to rethink.
Thank you, Filipe. And you are a very successful person in professional terms, in personal life. How does your day look like? Maybe you have some habits or rituals. Could you tell us about this, please, Filipe?
I didn't understand what it looks like, because I get your audio very low. So
Filipe,
can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Your regular day. How does your regular day look like? Your schedule.
The day to day.
Yeah. Regular.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of okay. The thing is that I think you are talking now about what I do, like in remote work, like normally. Okay.
Yeah.
If that is the question, I will answer that question. One of the important things that I learned from the beginning when I started it back in the 90s is that the problem is that when you are at home, you think, okay, I can be in my pajama the whole time. I can wake up later. You can do some of those things. For instance, you can change, if it is okay with your clients, if you're okay with your company, your sleeping habits a little bit, in order to go more to your biology. But you need to have a rhythm. So breakfast at the same time, lunch at the same time, dinner at the same time, because also that is a very healthy habit. I learned that because I used to be very fat, okay? I did a diet and everything, but I didn't do anything strange. I lost like 40 kilos. And one of the things that I learned is that when you don't eat at very strict times, you get fatter and fatter, because basically when you go to eat, you are so hungry that you can eat a cow, and you will eat a cow. That's because our primitive mind takes over and says, this is maybe the last time you will have food. We don't know when it will be the next. So eat now as much as you can. And we do that. So you have to stick to a routine. Even though you are working at home, you have to stick at a routine. You have to do it all by the hour. You plan your meetings in your calendar. You do all the things like in a normal office. But you also have the liberty that is amazing, that I can go and walk for a bit if I need some creativity. I will not have the colleagues like, oh, why he's going out now? He's not on his place now. No, I don't have that. So I can go out and get some fresh air, because many times that is important. It is strange that nowadays it's easy to get some fresh air if you smoke. If you don't smoke, you don't get.
Thank you. Filipe, and what's your life's motto? What motivates you to go forward to achieve great results in your life?
My motto is actually on my Facebook. It's Carpe Diem. So basically, we really don't know. Nowadays, everybody's worried what's going to happen to me. Basically, we never knew that. We never knew what's going to happen.
Right.
That doesn't mean that we shouldn't put money on the side for a rainy day, because if we have this kind of security nets, it is much better to have this carpe diem. If not, it's much more complicated.
Hmm. Yeah, Filipe, we can see you.
I think we are having some problems with the connection.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Yes, sometimes because maybe a lot of people in Instagram right now.
But if there is also questions from the audience, I can see over here, so I can.
You can ask questions you would like to Filipe answer. Please write it down in comments. Filipe, what 5 top books you would recommend to read?
You said type of book.
5 top books. 5 top books you recommend to read.
Oh, so 5 top books. There is one that is very interesting. That is 60 seconds. That is, I think it's 60 seconds to be happy. That it's a book that treats what self-help books don't explain. And also from Carnegie, How to Make Friends and Influence People. A very old book, but very nice. So those, the rest, I'm reading mostly about digital transformation nowadays. So those are not very interesting, and I'm really not a guy of memorizing the titles of books. So I know that the one that I'm reading now is about platforms. So it's, I'm in that I actually read a lot of articles. So read in audio, so I can give you an advice in order to you to get more productive in reading. So there are several things that you can use. You have things like Mentorbox and Blinkist that do kind of digest versions and audio, so you can walk around and hear them. And there is one tool that I like very much, that is Pocket. Pocket is it's like an extension that you can use in Chrome, but it also is an app. And imagine that you are on the website and you see an article that you really like to read, but you don't have the time. So you click on a button on Chrome that because it's an extension, and that will be saved in the app and on your Chrome list. So you can get it when you are, let's say, on public transportation. You can read it, but there is one thing. It can be read to you, so it has a voice that can read it. I have it in the 3 languages that I know well, Spanish, Portuguese, and English, and the Pocket reads it to me. What is really nice.
Filipe, and there are a lot of people in the world would love to become successful. What is success for you?
Well, that's a kind of my own journey, not because I'm saying that I'm successful, but my journey in understanding what is success. Because I did my degree is in economics, and everybody that did that degree were thinking like this: we want to be leaders, managing companies, managing public departments, whatever. So we were like looking to success equals either the budget that you have, the size of the company that you have, the number of people that are working to you. So if somebody has a company with 2 employees, is less successful than the one that has 10 employees And that one is less successful than the one that has a company with 200 employees. And during my professional journey, I started to understand that success actually is having the possibility of doing what you want and to have the time to spend in what you want the money that you earn. Because many times I see very successful people that they die very early because they were so concerned about the work that in reality they were successful people, but they didn't enjoy their success. They didn't enjoy life. And my life nowadays, not these days actually, but before the coronavirus, and I believe afterwards, is going to many, many places in the world, and I have familiar faces. And now, actually, I'm connecting in this period with familiar faces across the world. Today, I'm doing another webinar with some friends that one is in Germany, when the other is in the United States. And we came across in several places in the world. So in that, it's very interesting to live, and you know how it is when I go to Moscow, is that I feel at home. I feel at home in Moscow. I feel at home in Reykjavik. I feel at home in Osaka. I feel at home in Dubai. In many, many places, I feel at home because I have friends everywhere. So many times you don't have the time to cultivate this because you are much concerned in making money. So for instance, when I'm getting invited to do some a keynote speech in some place, I always go some days before in order to understand the people, to understand the country. Even if they are not paying for those days, I go for that because I need to interact. And that makes you a much more rich person and in a way successful.
What would you recommend to our followers, to our viewers, to live more prosperous, abundant life, Filipe?
Sorry, what you recommend? I didn't understand.
Yeah, what would you recommend some people? Because you already gave a lot of value and nice ideas you shared. But if you could say to your, for example, followers or people who would love to become more successful in life, for example, you are some mentor, what would you say to them?
Well, it's a bit returning to the hamster thing. We need to sometimes stop and look at what we are doing and thinking and think, is this make sense? Because many times we are in the wheel going around and around and around, and we are much more worried to keep the pace of the wheel. But the wheel is doing nothing. It's not creating anything. We are only tiring ourselves and fooling ourselves that we are doing stuff, that we are being productive, that we are indispensable. Until the moment that we discover that we are very dispensable, that we don't add any value. And unfortunately, in this crisis, a lot of people will discover that they don't add any value. But it's not only the organization fault, it's because of ourselves. We need to all the time ask, what is my added value? What is my mission? What is my vision? It's not only companies that should think like this. We need to understand what we are good at it and try to do it as much as possible. And not try to do what people think that is our best. Because that is a path of self-destruction.
Wow. Filipe, thank you very much for your time, for this conversation. It was very nice to talk with you and to see you again. And we look forward to welcome you again in Moscow or see you anywhere in the world. You're an amazing leader and person. And I'm sure you're a great role model for thousands of people all over the world. So keep going, and best wishes to you, to your home, to your family.
Thank you very much. It is always a pleasure to talk with you. Have fun.